Hi, this is Phil Borders. I'm a psychiatrist at Hendricks Therapy, and we are going to continue our discussion on parenting. Now, the timing's pretty good, and because parenting right now is a very important subject, the Surgeon General, who once in a while will issue warnings and advisories, such as the warnings against cigarette smoking, recently being August of 2024, issued an advisory on parenting. The advisory was the parents of today are getting crushed, that their rates of depression and anxiety are much higher than the general population. And that's kind of what this series has been all about, trying to take some of the pressure off parenting and trying to get parents focused on what's truly important and what's peripherally important. So today we're going to continue that discussion. In prior videos, we kind of narrowed it down to three things. When you look at outcomes of parenting, outcomes of how our kids turn out, and that was smoking. Did the parents smoke? Did the parents drink too much? Were the parents loving? And did their parents expect their kids to be loving? Those were the only variables that actually stood out, which in my opinion is incredibly refreshing, and it puts the focus on what really truly is important. We also have discussed how childhood has become much safer over the past 6 years due to such things as seatbelts, airbags, helmets, etc. However, we continue to try to find incremental gains in safety of our kids. And because of these incremental gains, we're putting our focus on safety rather than health. Because of our emphasis on safety, we're creating an emotionally fragile population of young people. For example, 1 out of 1 million kids is abducted. Now, being abducted is obviously horrific, but then you compare it to 90,000 out of 1 million high schoolers will try to kill themselves. So 1 out of 1 million, again, bad. 90,000 out of 1 million, really scary. And the two numbers really don't compare. When we're young, our brain is very malleable. It's very adaptive. It's like a piece of clay. I'm going to plagiarize that book, The Coddling of the American Mind, where they say that the brain, the brain when it's young and it's easy to influence, expects hardships. It expects thousands of falls, of failures, of scrapes, conflicts, insults, alliances, betrayals, competition, rejection. It experiences all these difficult things in order to mature and basically get tough. Now, research has shown over and over again that overprotecting children leads to more anxiety. Overprotecting anxious kids leads to even more anxiety. So it's really no surprise today that kids are spending much less time outdoors, much less time with other kids, and more time with their parents and more time on screens. In 2004, they had a very large survey of mothers, and they asked them a simple question: does your child spend more time outside playing than you did? And 85% of the mothers said, no, that my kids spend less time outside playing. And they asked them why, and the reason why was safety concerns. Also, study after study shows that we as people are terrible at risk assessment. We tend to pay attention to the very dramatic events, such as abductions and other brutal things, which kind of makes sense. We pay more attention to those. But those are rare events, and we tend to neglect the very subtle but much more prevalent dangers, such as isolation and loneliness. In the 70s, it wasn't that uncommon for 11-year-olds to be babysitting. My sister babysat me when she was 8, and she didn't even like me. Now today, if you're 11 years old and you're alone, you can get in trouble with the law. So it's showing how our culture's shift to safetyism is creating a very fragile population, and a population that doesn't know how to deal with life as well as they could have otherwise. This is Phil Borders. I'm a psychiatrist at Hendricks Therapy. Our next discussion is going to be on how difficult it is to be a student. Thanks for your time. Bye.